Hey everybody, the markets are rebounding and a lot of good stuff is happening behind the scenes that we need to be aware of. And we've just had a very big 2 weeks in crypto. Not necessarily from a price action perspective, but more from what things are being built under the cover. Fear and greed is down to 30. What else? Bitcoin's above 62. It's a good week for some assets, up, beating Bitcoin by over 7.5%. And we'll talk about a whole bunch of on-chain stuff, a whole bunch of data, a little bit of macro, a little bit of technology, a little bit of AI. But let's jump in. The big focus of today's story is how crypto just connected to the internet. When I mean internet, I mean websites, I mean Twitter, I mean everything. A very, very stunning development. So let's jump in. Thank you all for coming. Not financial advice, of course, as well. And thank you to everybody on Patreon. It's been a long day. 10 hours straight so far, but we're going to make it through this. And I know there are probably about 40 slides, so not the biggest. Normally OCTA's 48, so it's kind of slow. Let's talk about Bitcoin first. It's down 8% for the month of June. Not bad. A week ago when I did this, it was down 4%. So if you go from last Tuesday to today, difference is only 4%. When you look at the sentiment, you'd swear it was 400%. Anyway, let's move on from that. Bitcoin is at a 1 month low. And again, we were back at this level back in May. But again, people forget. They've got short-term memories. Sir Winston, thank you for coming. And we had a pretty rough 3 consecutive days. We've had a lot of miners selling. We've had the carry trade capitulation. A few days ago, Bitcoin's at 67K. Fell all the way to nearly 58,400 yesterday. But it rebounded fast because people stepped in. It was probably the most comforting thing I've seen because every asset has a price. A price for people to sell at and people to buy at. The fact that we dipped below 60K and big money jumped in and grabbed it all, very impressive indeed. Now, we are in the ugly news segment I forgot to mention, in case I did. Let's talk about the unlocks for the week. These unlocks are brutal in 2024. Absolutely, I used to make fun of the money grabs, like the gaming tokens back in 2021, 2022. But this year in 2024, everything is a money grab, pretty much. You got Yield Guild Games, obviously always there, always grabbing money. You got AGIX, you got Portal, Prime, Optimism, back again, Torn, ENA, Money Grab, MANTA, DYDX, SUI, all the new stuff coming for your money. Give it to me. Don't hold this garbage. Do the work. Look at the tokenomics. It doesn't take long. Starman, thank you in Australia. Now, speaking of other news too, a lot of stuff going on. Tether made some changes. Tether announced that USDT stablecoin will no longer be issued for use on the EOS and Algorand blockchains. I think that's the first time EOS has been in the news, or Algorand has been in the news for a long time. They will stop supporting them as of June 24th, 2024, which I think is yesterday. And the goal for Tether is to allocate resources where they can best enhance security and efficiency while continuing to support innovation across the crypto landscape. But under this justification, Tether announced we will stop supporting USDT in 2 chains. Again, EOS and Algorand, obviously, because nothing is happening on those chains. When you criticize a chain, like I have done for a long time, I don't criticize. Anybody can own any chain they want. I don't care. But I want people who follow me to at least be on the winning chains. Let's look at a little chart here. This is Algorand versus Solana since 2023. Algorand loses 1,832% against Solana. And this is why many people that own these tokens are so mad. They're not mad at me. They're mad at their bags for not going up 1,800%. Okay, so now I kind of understand it. Anywho, moving on. Banks are in deep trouble. Not just Algorand and EOS, but the banks are already have been in serious trouble for a while. This is a cool little chart. It's basically all FDIC insured institutions, think US banks. Now, on the left, you have the available for sale securities and held to maturity securities. During the global financial crisis in 2009, you can see how low we went. They went negative to the tune of about $60 billion. All right, fast forward to today, we are over 10 times that level, hitting $675 billion. The banks are in serious trouble with these unrealized losses on securities that they currently hold. Securities being the treasuries, which are underwater because of hold to duration exposure. By cutting interest rates, they could potentially soften the blow for these banks and prevent future bank failures. But no. The Fed doesn't want to do that. They want to keep the screws on and pretend to go after this magical 2% inflation while burning these banks to the ground. Why not? We don't care. Anyway, moving on. Time for a little bit of bad news. And this is the crypto market. Since I did this last 7 days ago, obviously divided by Bitcoin, Bitcoin's flat. ETH beat Bitcoin by 4%. Sol beat it by 7.25%. Cardano even beat Bitcoin and a couple of other names. Let's look at the dollar version. Again, Bitcoin down 7% for the week. It was down a lot worse yesterday when it hit 68.4. ETH down 3% for the week. Solana up 7% for the week. And Ton is up, Pepe is up, Uniswap is up, and a bunch of other good names. So it was kind of a mixed week. But the question I asked myself is, could this be the first sign of maybe a potential alt season? There's no doubt in my mind, I've said for years now, that this bull run is different. The winning tokens are far more mature and they're running far earlier. And they're doing incredible things with technology. We'll get to that in a second, so hold tight. Fear and greed. This is like it's like when those bombs that goes crashes down. Literally, we went from 76 down to 30 in days. Fear and greed tanked. And as I've shown before, when you get fear so low, fear and greed so low, it's normally a good time to buy. Now, it's been a brutal month for all sectors. All sectors are down. You can see ETH is now down worse than Bitcoin for the month, believe it or not. So it looks like that ETF excitement was short-lived. Weird. Thank you, the tree, for coming. And every single sector is red for the month. Every single sector. The least worst sector, basically the sector is just only slightly 1/3% negative for the month, is real-world assets, followed by centralized exchanges, followed by something S's. Staking services. Staking services. Yeah, so it's been an ugly month. Yes, that happens. Summer doldrums. This one has been especially brutal. However, that being said, year to date, it looks a little bit different. And you can see here, it's been a meme of a year so far. And in the past few months, the phrase value investing is empty. Folks are going all in on memes to live in the palace and make their financial freedom. But it's become kind of the mantra of this bull market. However, if you look here, meme coins up 1,800% so far in 2024. Bonkers for the first half. Real world assets, 213%. AI, 71%. They're the top three. Who saw memes coming? I didn't. Do I play memes? Nope. I like to manage risk carefully. So you won't see me with doggy coins or peppy coins or ape coins because, I need something solid behind it. So that's just me. But this is why, actually, I have a curve like this. I've had it for years for cryptos, but this is from Milk Road. It talks about risk reward. Yes, meme coins. There has been very high reward, but the risk is also the highest. Very, very high. B-Man, good to see you, buddy. The lowest, obviously, risk of all is stablecoins. Second lowest, Bitcoin. Third lowest, L1s. That's why I only play Bitcoin and L1s. A little bit of DeFi. Don't touch L2s. I don't touch gaming. I do touch AI, but most of the AI is complete garbage. So make sure you do your homework when you pick something that is an AI token. So I feel like I'm being a bit strict today, but hey, it's been a long day. Hungry, no food so far. Next, digital asset fund flows. You can see here we had the second consecutive week of outflows totaling about $600 million. And that took exactly about 1.2 billion off the tally so far year to date. And we believe this is in reaction to pessimism about the Fed not cutting interest rates this year. But now people are talking about maybe a July cut, a surprise cut, especially when you look at these banks here. They're in a world of hurt. They need that cut. The system is on the brink of breaking. And remember, risk happens fast. So we just need a couple of SVBs, maybe one big one, and then boom, they will cut. They'll be forced to cut. Now, where was I? Yes, money flow. Boom, 1.2 billion out. Not good. Let's look at the fund flow by asset type. You see Bitcoin 630 million out. This, as I've been talking about for nearly 2 weeks now, is the carry trade unwind by the hedge funds. That's who pulled all the cash off the table. Not the core investors, not the retail investors, not the pension funds. No. It's the hedge funds that did this. Kamikaze Creations, thank you so much for coming down there in Australia. So that is a big chunk of cash. If you look at the rest, though, Solana 2.7 million in, Litecoin 1.3 million in, multi-asset. This is interesting. Multi-asset is basically combo cocktails like Solana, maybe XRP, Matic, etc., Ethereum. They have been very strong. That could mean perhaps we're seeing the beginning of an alt season, people rotating out of things like Bitcoin into multi-asset, but I think it's too early for that. Anyway, Ethereum down 60 million too, which is a big chunk of change again. People giving up the ghost on the ETF so far. Maybe it'll come back. There is talk that it will be approved in the next 6 or 8 days. But again, it could be the typical buy the rumor, sell the news type of thing. We'll see. Anyway, Bitcoin season. Are we in all season yet? The answer is no. Still at 22. Last week was 20. So it's ticking up, but ever so slightly. If we look at the top 50 performance over the last 90 days, it's been brutal. Unless you're in Toncoin or Pepe or Ondo, which I think is staking stuff, it's been pretty hard. If you look at the bottom right, you've got Avalanche, ICP, Sui, Aptos, all down huge. Very, very nasty week for those altcoins. But some will rebound. Some will just stay down there. Now let's switch gears. We're still in the bad news. Switching to good news after this one slide. Apple apparently is talking to everybody about partnering on AI. Who would have thought? The biggest company in the world with all the money in the world and $150 billion in cash. They have to get on bended knee. They've already partnered with OpenAI. They're talking now to Meta, Anthropic, Perplexity, and Google. Hey, please help us out. So this is really a disappointing, terrible lack of innovation where you have little startups that can create their own LLMs pretty quickly. Why can't Apple do it? Again, it's what happens. Companies get old and stodgy, they lack creativity, and they focus on all the wrong things, like building an EV, an autonomous EV, which completely failed. They lost years and lost billions on that. And then coming up with $3,500 goggles, which nobody wants to get a headache from. Another disaster. Anyway, that's Apple. People still love it, though. And I use Apple products. Many of them. So anyway, time for the good news. And every slide, all the presentations, is turned into a Substack. You can read it, listen to it, whatever you want, at your leisure. And the team here creates many hundreds of slides every single week. So this is the big news. I'm going to break this down because this is absolutely stunning for so many reasons. Totally responded to the Solana today. Today, we connect Solana to the entire internet. You can vote, you can donate, you can mint, swap, pay, use Solana everywhere. Totally chimes in. Solana Mobile is more important than ever. If you want to duopoly, to be open to this kind of UX for any blockchain, a third mobile app store ecosystem needs to be eating their lunch. Otherwise, they will fight open web payments with tooth and nail. So basically what this is about is Solana have introduced a new feature called Actions and Blinks to facilitate transactions, blockchain transactions from anywhere on the web. A social media platform like X or any digital channel or any website. It means users can execute on-chain transactions like buying an NFT or tipping a creator or with or without leaving the website that they're currently using. It's all completely embedded. It's absolutely madness that this has happened. And shout out to Mert as well, who warned us something big was coming this week too. Now, this is part of it. This is Blinks. Blinks are basically shareable links that trigger a Solana transaction when clicked. For example, a user could share a blink on Twitter, and anyone who clicks it would be able to participate in a transaction or action on the Solana blockchain without needing to navigate away from Twitter or navigating to a wallet or adding an address or anything else. This integration completely simplifies the process of engaging with the blockchain technology and making it more accessible to a far wider audience. And by connecting the internet and social media platforms for crypto transactions, this is really a huge part of the future. And the Solana Foundation aims to make blockchain interactions more intuitive, practical, easier to adopt, fostering a lot more community engagement within the crypto space. It is massive. I've actually tested this already. I tested another link payment system last week and tested this today. Unbelievable. So simple. And this will drive a huge amount of adoption. For years, I've been talking about that path to 1 billion users. This is a huge step in that way. And the simplicity is incredible. Now, the launch partners behind Blinks are huge. It's a who's who of everybody. This is the new protocol in collaboration with Solana, developed by, I think, a company called Dialect, to share Solana everywhere, starting right now. And it'll blow minds on crypto Twitter. And if you are a developer, no front-end dev experience is required to make this thing happen. And you can see all the big partners, Phantom Wallet, Jupiter, etc., Helium. What else am I missing? It's a who's who of everybody behind this actual launch. It's massive. Speaking of Mert played with it, and he looks at the Blinks wallet connector, and you can stake directly now from Twitter without leaving anything, which is incredible. What's also interesting about this is, Elon Musk and Twitter is big on payments. Their payment capability is coming. Now, somehow, Solana has jumped the gun and enabled payments via Solana on X. I wonder what this could mean for the future. It's obviously another alternative to do payments globally across Twitter using crypto, but it is stunning. And I know it takes a while for this to sink in. I've been looking at it since last week. The penny didn't drop until this morning when I saw Toli's tweet, and then the rest is history. It is very, very big for the space. So well done, everybody. And by the way, as once again, Mert says, and it's only Tuesday. So far, new ZK compression, Blinks, a new startup accelerator, big Jupiter upgrades for swaps, new SVM infra that supports gaming. And it's only Tuesday, and Mert again promises more. And we had a huge week last week with the massive scalability connections. And for those who want to rebuild their lives using crypto, Raj, friend of the channel, believes if you're a developer and you're focused on growth, start now. Start looking at this technology. Start experimenting with it as quickly as possible. And for users, get ready to see your feed transformed following Solana's launch of Blinks and Actions technology. Unbelievable. Like if you're a creator and you need, say, tips or something, activate this right away if you want. Now, let's talk about the black hole. Daily transactions by chain. There is only one black hole. I mention this every week, but now Solana's nearly at 40 million daily transactions. And number 2, though, which is kind of stunning, Ton Network, the open network from Telegram, 5.3 million, jumping above, say, 4.3 million transactions, Binance 3.7, Base 3.3, etc. But when you consider the open network, Telegram has 900 million users, that amount of transactions isn't very much. So they have a lot more penetration to go as we go forward. All right, let's talk about stock market over the last 7 days since I shared it last. Google had a good week. Nvidia down 4% for the week. Microsoft basically up 0.5%. Apple down 3.5%. Apple's been all over the place when they announced they were working on AI. People got excited and they've given all that back. Amazon up 1%. Tesla flat. And that's Meta up just under 1% as well. That's the situation. But there's more stunning news, macro news behind the stock markets. This is stunning. Okay. For those who are invested in emerging market stocks, you haven't done very well. This is an absolutely mind-blowing chart for you. I'm going to break it down. This is the US market cap as a percentage of the world market cap of all stocks. The US stock market is now nearing 50%, an all-time high. And it's a record going back, I can't remember when it's been so high. But since the onset of the financial crisis, the US has nearly doubled its share of world market cap. So what's happening with other stock markets around the world? Is it just, well, I know what it is. It's basically these big names here, the Nvidias, the Googles, the Microsofts, the Apples, the Teslas, the Amazons, the Metas. They are driving all of this domination. So pretty impressive to look at. And this chart is stunning. If you're an emerging market investor like Peter Schiff, you're not doing too good. But he's not a good investor anyway. He tells you to buy gold, which is not a good idea. Speaking of Tesla, again, Tesla had their best week so far in 2024. That's the pink line to focus on for Q2. And there's 1 week left of reporting for Q2. And then we'll see if they can keep this momentum. Q1 was brutal. Q2, we'll see if they have some recovery. We shall see. But there's more. Morgan Stanley came out and spoke about how, this is from Mario, how Tesla will rescue the US from an energy crisis. Morgan Stanley is now digging into the megapack business, and they believe Tesla is likely to be a key part of solving the problem of America's energy crisis amid wars and escalating energy demands because of the booming AI industry, etc. This will be big. Energy storage is absolutely critical, and nobody is close to what Tesla has when it comes to big batteries that store energy from the sun or the wind or the tide or whatever. And there's a list of customers out way into the future for these products, which is also fascinating to hear. And I estimate that the megapack business is worth about $1 trillion. Also, it'll grow bigger and faster than the car business. But we know it's not a car company. It's a robotics, AI, energy storage company. And that's going to be fun to watch. Also, speaking of energy versus technology, this is a cool little chart of XLE over XLK. XLE is energy, XLK is technology. And because energy comes first, you can see it's completely tanked against technology over the last year. Not good to be in energy, but energy is critical, so expect that to rebound at some stage. Unless, of course, the AI revolution will continue forever, which I believe it will too. So watch this space carefully. And speaking of activist judges, this is from Alexander Mertz, friend of the channel. The Delaware situation proves to be, in a nutshell, what America is currently all about. And this is from a German lady, by the way, living in the United States. She says, activism, activism, activism by law professors, lawyers, and journalists who are trying to just break the world. And we saw what that judge out of Delaware did. But unfortunately, they just got kicked in the teeth. Even the people, all the people in Delaware are freaking out because there's no dispute that the Tesla stockholders in June 13th voted to ratify the 2018 comp plan for Elon Musk by convincing margin, 72%. That is very, very large. And as much as the plaintiff tries, they cannot ignore that sobering reality. Again, a frivolous lawsuit brought by somebody with 9 shares should never have come. And then to be embraced by an activist judge should be a wake-up call for corruption and activism as we go forward. They should not be allowed to happen again, ever. I hope they live in shame for the rest of their lives. Anyway, a little bit of good news. End on a positive note. Javier, afuera. Argentina has its first week without inflation in over 30 years. This fella is bringing a chainsaw to government, and he's fixing stuff fast that people thought he couldn't do. He's doing it. He's doing it by breaking the mold and doing things different. So watch this space. Hopefully there'll be more of this in different countries around the world, because governments, I know they're there to protect us and enforce laws and stuff, but even laws aren't being enforced anymore, and they're just issuing regulations that stifle innovation, that kill economies. That needs to stop if you're in a country that needs to grow. Free markets work best with no interference, especially from activist judges. Thank you, Jimmy Neal, for coming as well, and the mods in the chat. Sorry for being late today. Huge amount of work to do, and that's it. Hope you enjoy the show. Hit the like if you did, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.